Hello, Metaverse friends, and welcome to another exciting episode of MetaverseXpress Full Stop. I'm your host, Mona, and as always, we're here to bring you the hottest topics in the Metaverse with expert insights from our special guests. And speaking of special guests, I am so excited to welcome Costantino Roselli on the show today. He is the co-founder and chief Metaverse officer at Ntzns. He's also on the advisory board of the Metaverse Fashion Council. Costantino, welcome to the show. It is so good to have you on today.
Thank you very much. It's an honor for me to be here. I want to say that I'm very excited to speak about the topic of Metaverse and Ntzns and give a lot of insightful news for valuable notes to your audience.
Amazing. We're glad to have you. You know, I've been really impressed by the incredible work that you and your team are doing in the Metaverse. I've listened to a couple of your podcasts and read a few of your blogs. And I have to say, your insights are really valuable. So I'm just really excited to have you on the show today and for our viewers to learn more about the Metaverse and why it matters. I want to give you the opportunity to tell the audience about yourself and also your company, Ntzns. So tell us a little bit of a background about you.
Okay. I started as a computer science. My background is in technology. I jumped to marketing and communication really fast because I always like to see the value that technology brings to business, and always striving for solutions to business. So when the digital marketing has arrived, I saw the opportunity to combine technology with marketing on everything. And as Web2 taking the world by storm, I thought that it was really the opportunity of people understand that technology is a projection of themselves. I believe that technology is here to help us evolve, and this is what we see in Web3. So I'm working a lot in digital branding. I did a lot of things in combining technology and branding. And then I jump on fashion, working on Milan Fashion Week, and collaborating with many brands there. And then I created my own digital branding agency, helping on creation of Balkan Fashion Week. And I realized that it was time, a little before of pandemic, I realized that it was time to bring the digital fashion in front and to speak about the value that digital fashion brings to sustainability. So I founded Ntzns with two targeting in two ways. The first one is that the netizens themselves means the citizens of the network of internet. Because right now we are not building our lives around of a factory, so we don't build cities. So we don't need to be citizens actually, but we need to be netizens, which means the people that we're creating a huge network around us, and we can be everywhere. And the second one was the digital fashion, because that was the industry that I knew better, and I like to be there because fashion is changed constantly, and I like this. It's all about creativity, and I believe that the fashion that we have right now doesn't aim to sustainability, but it goes to a different way. So I don't believe that physical fashion can bring sustainability. So Ntzns will bring digital fashion in front in order to create sustainable systems of working.
I'm going to dedicate the first half of the show to get your insight on the Metaverse, and then I want to dedicate the second half to digital fashion. But let me bring you back to, let's go in the Metaverse, because when people ask me, what is the Metaverse? I often say, the metaverse is a digital environment or a set of environments where we're going to be able to interact with each other through our digital representation and through these immersive experiences. We'll be able to do things like shop together, attend a concert together, watch a basketball game courtside, or walk through a digital mall and shop together. In short, I say, the metaverse will create a virtual shared space where we can experience and interact with each other in ways that we've never before, which is exciting. So, of course, I want to hear your definition of the metaverse, but I also want to ask you, what do you think are the main problems that are driving the need for the metaverse today?
Okay, good question. Definition of the metaverse is really difficult. The metaverse for me is all the things that you already said, but this is just a symptom. What you see that you can do inside of the metaverse is just a symptom, is just something that you can do. Because the metaverse is not another tool or another environment that help us doing marketing or help us interact together in the same way. It's completely different. So for me, in the metaverse, if I can give a definition, is about the cultural evolution of ourselves. So by changing the environment that you work in or living, you will change the whole behavior of the people around you. So it's the first time that the digital world became a reality for you, because it's not only about how you trade about the products or how you buy products, but you are inside of this world and you interact with other people as a digital self. So this is a completely different. I always explain that by giving a little bit of history of how we bring, how we came here. So maybe this is also give an answer to the second part of your question.
Sure.
So if you see the evolution of the history, of digital history. I mean, if you started with the internet, then you have the Web 1, which means that it's the industrial way, the digitalization of industrial way of working. That means that we have a products and we have the customers, and the customers should interact with the products. And then you have websites that they gives you a picture of a product, but the whole thing is happened in a physical world. And then we have the Web 2, that people start sharing information about themselves, about their lives, about the stories, and we have advertising inside. But again, we have the brands, they interact and broadcast to people. So we have sharing information, broadcasting. In the metaverse, we don't have broadcasting and we don't have this kind of sharing information. It's about co-creation. So we are all together inside of an environment that we interact together and we live the experience of how a products come out, or how we interact with the creation of something. I mean, it's like you're watching the Avatar movie, and then you watch it in 3D, and when you go to the metaverse, you are participate. You have a role inside of the movie, so you get the experience itself. So it's more immersive. And what you see right now is just a glimpse, a shadow glimpse of what is gonna happen. Everyone tried to claim that they have the metaverse, and they claim the term of metaverse because buzzword. But actually, nobody has it, the metaverse. All the people, they try to develop some things that they move the needle forward. And we go for the metaverse. In 2030, yes, we will have it. And to go to the next question is about the need of the metaverse. The need of the metaverse came because of three things. The first one is the recession. When you have an economical crisis, because the metaverse is based on blockchain, when you have an economical crisis, the people started reaching or seeking of alternatives. And the blockchain came at the time in 2012, I think, and with not the blockchain, but the cryptocurrency, for example, to give the opportunity to people to become banks itself, and then they have the control of their money and the control of what they're doing. And this is the
Right.
freedom that Ntzns
Self-custody of,
represent.
exactly, right?
Exactly, the ownership.
Yep.
And the second thing, it was about the pandemic. And in the pandemic, we had the lockdowns, and the lockdowns we say, okay, what we can do, it's a bad situation, but at least we have the digital world. So like right now we are in streaming, but we realized that it wasn't enough. So we cannot stay here. It's missing the whole thing of immersive. And the third thing, it was about the evolution. The people need to be evolved. The people need to understand that we are not, we don't have a standard normality that we say, here we are. But we need to evolve. We are moving in circles, and it's time to moving on the second, on a next level, let's say, as humanity. So it's about how we evolve whatever we do from industrial economy to the metaverse economy. And by saying metaverse economy is about the creator's economy, the ability of the people to create things, combine everything that I said about to become a bank, to become media, to have an immersiveness, to have the ability to be everywhere and do whatever you want. In the metaverse, you don't have one personality. You have a lot of personalities that all those personalities interact through avatars, building their own story. And this is the fantastic thing. Is the moment that we understand that humanity is something more.
Yeah,
The beyond
exactly.
that we say in the terms of meta.
Yeah, it's so interesting because at one of the events that I went to, Chris Dixon, the founder of A16Z, said something very interesting, which you actually just mentioned. He said if Web 1 was read, Web 2 was read and write, and now Web 3 is read, write, and own. So this premise of content ownership seems like, what we're going to experience more in the digital environment. And also this immersiveness that you talked about, I think that is what sets this next iteration of internet apart from the previous one. But most importantly for me, one of the most important features of the metaverse, in my opinion, is that it really creates a digital space that's borderless and allows for limitless possibilities. How do you envision the metaverse changing the way we interact with each other?
We don't, we will not, what it will happen for me in 10 to 20 years from now, and it's already started, we build the foundation, is that we will not have the idea of interaction as one-to-one situation, but it's more 360 and more complicated. So we don't interact each other, but we interact with environment. Think about fashion, for example, that in fashion is about the self-expression. We dress in order to create something that has about ourselves. But in the metaverse, we don't interact only by having a dress, because the dress itself in the metaverse has its own life. It's not a rag that is hanging in your closet. It has its own soul. So that means that the objects and the environment interacts with you at the same time that you interact with others. And if you think also that you are a multi-personality inside the metaverse, I have 15 avatars, and every avatar that I have has its own identity. I mean, the one is a educator, the other one is a woman, and the other one is a guru on something, I don't know. But those has their own story. So it's about the storytelling, the gamification that you have, because you do something inside there. So the whole thing about how do we know the reality is constantly, it will be changed. I will give you just an example. I will try to give you an example. We, on the industrial economy, we know that we have a job to do and products to produce, and we have to learn how to do that, and everything is going in a serial way. In the metaverse, we don't do that. Life is much more fun and has to do about the experience that we have and we create there. we will not have the industrial way of living. So that means the industrial way of working also. As I said in the beginning, we don't build our lives around the factories because the factories are on backpack and we are traveling with that. And the difference between netizens and digital nomads is that the digital nomads, they continue serving the current environment and the current industry using technology that allows them to going around the world. The netizens disrupt the current industry. They don't serve the marketing because in the metaverse, we don't have advertising in the way that we know. But we live in experience. Think about, because we built it that as a netizens, think about the community of James Bond. The people that they wear Tom Ford, they don't wear because Tom Ford did a fashion show and he's a marvelous designer, but because Daniel Craig wears that. And at the time that they wear the Tom Ford suit, they hear the sounds of James Bond in their mind. They believe that they have a license to kill. And they want to leave this situation, not just wearing a suit to go to work or to go into a gala. So you build a completely different way of living because your life is not anymore about what you do, but it's a role that you choose to have today, tomorrow, or this is, it's up to you how many roles and what you want to play.
And so it is about immersive experiences, because when you were saying, we were talking about advertising, I see now when I go into Decentraland, I see that advertising has become very discreet. It's like, you're playing with that item, you're touching it, you're carrying it around, you're playing with it. Even advertising in the metaverse is very discreet, but it's very experience driven. It's very immersive driven, which you almost can't tell that it's advertising. It's a phenomena that's happening. But one thing I want to ask you, when we talk about experiences in digital environments, it's worth noting that gaming has been creating digital environments and experiences for decades now. You said something in one of your podcasts that has been stuck with me since. You said gaming is a medium to understand the metaverse, which that is so true. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on whether you believe gaming is going to be a lower barrier to entry to lure the mainstream audience into these digital environments.
Yeah, you're right. I said that. The gaming part, for decades, if you go back to history, you will see that the people taking everything so serious. I mean, when you are a kid, you are allowing to design or to play because you are a kid. You have an excuse. But as you grow, you have to leave behind all of those things. But it's not true. Actually, everybody is a kid. Everybody wants to play, and this is something that came back to reality when we idolize right now the comics that we had in the decades of 60s or the 70s, Superman and everything. Marvel came as a big industry, create a huge impact on the games. And the movie industry reminds us this for decades, decades now. I mean, Lord of the Rings, everything that move us to an environment that is fantastic. So the imagination lives with the reality, because when you go to see a movie, you are with the pirates in the Pirates of Caribbean, and you don't even know the name of the Navy admiral, but you know the name of Jack Sparrow. And why you do that? It's an escape of a reality that you need it, and it's a safe way because you are sitting on a chair. So the metaverse gives you this opportunity, and gives you this opportunity to start building a role on that. Not to become a Jack Sparrow, but this is the analogy. But you can, for example, go to Zepeto and have experience playing with other people, with other avatars. I have two behind me. From here is Zorin, and then I have Zensi. And when I saw them, I speak with them. And And I create personalities and characters, and this is fantastic that you can do inside of the metaverse. And gaming give us the ability to understand life in a different way. It's not everything so serious that 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 we cannot play with that. I mean, we need to take roles. We take roles every day on what we're doing. We're dressing and we say, today I'm this one, and I have to impress the other people. But gamers came right now and show us that life is much more about fun and beauty. Stephen Pressfield said that in his book, The War of Art. He said that everything that we can do, don't forget that we do it for fun and beauty. If you don't have fun and beauty, why you live then? And we thought we grew in industrial era, that industrial era wants us to be cogs and to working on something that we take money in order to buy it. So we circle the money and everything. But right now we don't need that. And this is the point. There is no such a bad thing to play all the time. So let's play.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like, people's perception of the metaverse currently is they're a little hesitant. They're not sure exactly why they need to be in the metaverse. And frankly, they love the physical world and they feel like coming to this side is going to be this cold world that there's no human interaction. But frankly, it doesn't have to be that way. Yes, there's still a lot that we need to mitigate to make this transition smooth and safe and secure. And there's so many elements of this digital environment that we're still trying to build and, again, make onboarding easy for the folks who are out there. And like you said earlier, we're still ways to get to that point. But if you were to talk to the mainstream audience, why should they pay attention to this next iteration of whether it's internet or whether we want to call it Web3? What is it for them that it is intriguing or interesting to want to come over to this side?
Okay. If you see the life before Web2, I mean, the life before social media, when social media started, it started because the technology enabled. I mean, you had, before the selfies, we had to put the cameras on the phone. So I remember that I was in my office when the first mobile phone arrived with a camera on it. And I had a lot of people in my office and they mentioned that. And we started a conversation by said, who cares about the camera? Why they put a camera on a phone? Which today it's a really funny history. But one guy said that, because this is maybe good for my wife, because my wife is an insurance lady, and they ask her all the time to go to when an accident is happened. So she needs to have photos. So if they have the photo camera inside of the phone, that will create a very big benefit on her. She has it on the phone and at the same time send an SMS of the photo. I mean, everything that we build, there is a community out there of people that they find the usage of it. So when we wonder why to go there, it's like a lot of other people, they say, oh my God, finally we have it. So if you ask me why you need to go to the metaverse, today there is no something to do there. Actually, it's only for the pioneers today. But you have to understand why you need it, why this is for you, for every one of us. This is why you have to insist to invest on metaverse to be built. Why? First of all, metaverse gives you the freedom of go and do whatever you want, having the immersiveness, as we said. So this is a huge opportunity for you. The second is to have a life, a work life, sorry, a business inside of a digital world that can liberate you from what you have in physical life. For me, just to say something here, to mention here that for me there is no real life and digital life. There is physical life and digital life, both of them conclude the reality, because reality without imagination is nothing. Okay, so we need that imagination, and right now we have a space of that imagination. So everybody can be a creator. As we started doing things on Web2, on social media, the first influencers, that they didn't call them influencers that time, was people that they created something, and we say, oh, that people, they do something good and something that we like. We spend right now a lot of time in front of Instagram scrolling pictures of cute pets and happy babies. So if you find this as an important thing to do it, so you can imagine what's happening in Metaverse, that you have the ability to go there, go to a shop, for example, and find your dress, having an avatar that is resembling it's a digital twin of you. That means it has your dimension, and put the dress on this dimension and say, okay, this is fixed on you. But at the same time, you can push a button, and that button triggers your favorite influencer that will help you from the other side of the other corner of the earth, because they can't do that. They cannot travel to you, but they can speak to you through this. And then you have a community. So everything is interact together, and you are a part of it. You can go, for example, today in Soho, in London, and you can ask to Levi's to say, okay, I like that jeans, but I would like to have these holes there and these stripes there. And in 2 hours, you have it. Imagine that in Metaverse, you have the ability to contact directly with the creator, no intermediaries, means no cost for the creator and for you. It's amazing thing that everything that's happening right now, it's about the creator and you.
Yep.
And together you can do things that you don't need any more intermediaries. You don't need any more governments to tell you what to do, because you have the smart contracts and you are a bank. You don't have fees. You don't have a lot of things. So please do a favor to yourself. I speak to the mainstream audience. Do a favor to yourself and embrace Metaverse, because this is the evolution. Don't be afraid to do that.
Yeah,
Today,
and it really
it's yeah. Please.
No. I was just going to say, it really is that. It's a creator's world. It's a creator's economy, and it really gives everyone the opportunity to create, own, and if anything, I've always said it brings more jobs. So many people have gone into Metaverse and they're supporting themselves just by content creation. It's very fascinating, but I do want to bring fashion into this as well, because you came from a computer science background, but you saw a potential impact that digital fashion could present on the current industrial economy. Talk to us about this convergence of fashion and the Metaverse and the impact that you see it could have on the economy.
Fashion is always the industry that jumps first on everything that is pioneering. So this is why the luxury brands, they started doing things inside of with technology, let's say. This is not something that is happening the last 2 years, but it's something that has happened more than 10 years now. So a lot of fashion brands, they already jump on technology like 3D printing. They started test things and seeking alternatives, because people right now, as we already know, we are looking for sustainability. The thing about sustainability is, whenever we say that word, everybody's thinking only the environmental sustainability, which is wrong. We have three types of sustainability. We have environmental, we have social sustainability, and we have financial sustainability. With in fashion, we need 3 of them to correct, let's say, to make sustainable the whole environment. The environmental sustainability has to do with the way that the physical garments came to reality, and digital fashion has a great solution there. because environmental sustainability with physical garment, you cannot have more than 30%. With digital fashion, you have 97% sustainability. And the 3% is because of energy that our machines lose.
Let me ask you, I don't want to interrupt you, but
yeah.
I want to ask you real quick. You said sustainability when it comes to digital and energy. How would that be sustainable when, wouldn't we be using more electricity?
Yes, but less water and less physical, I forget the word right now, preparation, let's say, of the garments, the whole thing of that. And not only this, because in digital fashion, we need 24 hours to build a garment and bring it in front of the customer. In fashion, the current business model needs 3 to 6 months to do that. Mm-hmm. And on all those 3 to 6 months, you need a lot of people to work. Right. With the physical, with the textiles, with the garments, with sewing, with prototypes, with samples. And then you have the supply chain that you have to send samples around the world in the trade fairs, in showrooms and everything, and the fashion shows. We don't need them. We have a digital world where we can upload everything there. In 3 to 4 days, we can have the first drops. So what happened? I always explain it like the music. I mean, how music industry disrupted. In the beginning that we had, for example, the first digital expressions of what we have today as iTunes and Spotify, the people, they said, no, this is too bad. This will kill the whole music industry and the musicians and everything. But in the end, what we have is we have more musicians and more music. And who would impact it on that? It was the record labels. They toasted completely. They lose the ground. And this is fantastic. Not entirely, but they lose it. And this is fantastic. So the same thing will be happening right now. I mean, we built a huge organizations in between the creator and the audience. And who's paying the whole this organization is the audience and the creators. So we have underpaid employees, and we have audience that they pay 100 times more, something that costs less. And because in order anything that we wear to reach our to reach the retailers, let's say, and to go there to buy it, it takes a lot of intermediaries and a lot of road to go there, a lot of milestones. So this is the digital fashion disrupts completely. You don't need it. You need just a virtual world that the people goes there and co-create with the designers. Because in digital fashion, you can design something very fast, and you say, if you like it, you take it. If you don't like it, I'm not going to create. And then we realized something that is really, really important. When we went to the virtual worlds and the digital fashion came out in this way, we saw that who needs to wear physical garments to build their digital personas. So that was really, so because we build right now our personal brands in digital world. So we don't need to wear all the time physical worlds to go out there and to build our digital persona. So we don't need to buy so many clothes all the time. There is an overproduction, and there is I read once a statistic that says that we have in our closet clothes that we never wore. And I said, oh,
I'm guilty as charged.
Exactly.
Guilty as charged.
Me too. And I didn't know that. And I know that many people, they don't know that. And if they listen, they hear us right now, they have to check the closet. I had a suit with the label for years. I never wore it. And that was amazing. But you know, I said, why? And this is the most important. And when you buy something that costs 10 euros, check that time how democratized is that, because the brand will not pay the price. The employees in the third world, they will pay the price.
this is what I wanted to ask you. A lot of these garments are coming from those countries, being sewn by people that live in countries with limited resources. So if we're moving toward a digital world where we are going to spend the majority of time in these digital environments, then I would propose the question of what would happen, or how are we going to still accommodate those who don't have the resources, and essentially we're taking the jobs away from them, right, and giving it to people that have more tech experience, tech knowledge, to be able to design the digital version of these garments, correct?
Yes, but it's not so simple. I mean that we will not wake up one morning and the job is not there and we will go to digital. So what we face right now is a trigger, is a ring, a bell that says, okay, start change, start train yourself, start find a way what you're gonna do in 10 to 20 years from now. It's like the shoemaker. When a shoemaker built 8 shoes, one shoemaker every day can build, let's say, 8 shoes. And suddenly a machine came out that this machine can produce 8,000 shoes per day. But the shoemaker wasn't needed anymore. But at the same time, we didn't need a shoemaker, but we need someone that knows how to work this machine in order to have shoes. And we didn't only need one guy, but we needed 4 guys. So the shoemaker has a value to those guys that they create the machine, because they can bring the experience inside of the machine and train that machine. The same with AI. Right now, people are afraid that they're going to lose the jobs because of AI, but actually the experienced people, the expertise are those that they will train the AI. So what actually happened is that we have more jobs and more people that occupied on what is happening. And the people that they are right now in the jobs that they're gonna extinct, let's say, in the future, they have the time to start to start the transition period. We live this transition period. I mean, we not stop the evolution because we lose what will happen right now. It's like Uber, okay? Yeah. Uber came and they say, and the taxi driver says, okay, let's protest, and they win. Fantastic, okay? But they have right now think, okay, Uber came, that means that this will come in 2, 3 years, 4 years. So the fact that I won right now means that I have more time to prepare. Right. It's the same with Napster. Napster came and the record labels closed the Napster, and then iTunes came.
Absolutely. I mean, this next iteration of how we do everything, it's inevitable. How we do finance, how we watch, how we listen, how we educate ourselves, how we create, it's all going to change. And again, we're still very early. There's so much I want to talk to you about, because we could bring in the whole topic of AI and throw that in the mix, and how that's revolutionizing this journey as well. But before we start to close out here, I do want to ask you, because I'm interested to know, how do you see the role of digital currency in all of this and in the metaverse? Because clearly, I often say what we're doing today is not for us, it's for the generation that's behind us. Gen Z, they're not going to hold a dollar in their hand. It is going to be a digital currency. How do you see that play out in these metaverse environments?
Amazing. I see that amazing. Everything that is happening right now, we live amazing years. It's like that we live in the era of the first, let's say, car is arrived, and right now it's like, when the first car is arrived, it was the people take the carriage with the horses, remove the horses, and they put an engine on the carriage, and they call it horseless vehicle. And for 20 years, they keep calling it horseless vehicles until they realize that they say, why we say it like that? We need to change the shape because we don't need anymore this shape to carry the horses. So we live the same era right now. Everything that we know as digital currency or NFTs, I think that in a few years, everybody will come and say, don't say it like that because we need to change. I mean, my daughter came and say, why you call it digital camera? Is there something else? Why you have an adjective? Is a camera? Why you call it digital? So the young generation, as you said, the generation alpha more, for those is the metaverse for me, is about to understand that technology is a foundation of our surviving. And this is the most important to understand. Digital currency doesn't came here to replace, let's say, the fiat currency or everything. It's not about, digital currency is an asset. It's completely different. Digital currency is a Bitcoin, but at the same time is something that maybe is a picture or a video, I don't know what, but it's a token. We speak in this language. We have tokens. We can tokenize everything. I don't need investors anymore. I can tokenize everything. And we live, as I said, in co-creation. What that means? That means, for example, I evaluate, and this is what I'm doing in Ntzns. I evaluate a project and I say, okay, this project cost 200,000 euro, and it will have a profitability in 2 years from now when we build it, more than 10 million euro. So I said, okay, who wants to work on this project, seeing that potential? And everybody that came to this project, I give to them tokens in the evaluation of 200,000 euro, and that tokens after the profitability cost more. And we are partners. It's not about hiring. We never hire someone in Ntzns because we are Ntzns. And this is the education that we do the people, how to become from citizen to Netizen means to change the industrial way of thinking, the mentality. The biggest skill that you have to have in order to go to Metaverse is a mentality. And this mentality carried out from generation alpha, not even the generation Z, not even the millennials, we are not the people that we understand exactly the capabilities of what is coming. But what is coming is going to change and revolutionize everything. Think about the fact that you will have the bank in your digital environment, and at the same time, you don't need to have any connection with any bank or any fiat currency or any other form of control you. So we give our freedom to industrialists in exchange our safety and our growth. Fantastic, it's working, thank you. It's time to take it back. Right now, we can do by ourselves everything. And this is something that is very difficult for the people of today to understand, because we live so many years under the industrial umbrella. And I see people that they say, okay, I have to fight for my retirement. But if you think what is retire means actually, it's like you want to be retired, to be out of what happened. I don't understand. I don't accept that for myself and my kids and everything. I don't want to be retired, actually.
I don't want to be retired either. We're going to be bored.
Exactly. It's so boring.
It's going to be very boring, but you're absolutely right. Self-custody and having to eliminate the intermediary in a lot of the things that we currently use intermediaries is going to be a process. An abrupt change is never been the way of how we do things. It's always a process. And it's just really amazing to be a part of this evolution and see this progress happen. I'm glad that we're a part of it and here, sitting here and talking about it. As we start to close here and looking ahead, let's say 5-10 years from now, what does that ideal metaverse look like to you, let's say 10 years from now?
It's the ideal society for me. When I think the ideal metaverse, and I really visualize that every day to my mind, it will be borderless, without stereotypes that we have right now, limitless, that we have the ability to do amazing things, to fly, to understand this unlimited world, how it's working. And if I have to visualize, to give my visual to you also, it would be like something like Star Wars, let's say, not in terms of the plot, but I think that Star Wars, and if you look at it back right now, you will see that it worked it was really a lot ahead of its era. Why?
Way ahead.
Because
Yep.
you see, yeah, exactly. Because you will see in a scene, in a simple scene, you can see a lot of different species live together without question that. And this is my prayer, let's say, to humanity, to have the ability to be all different species together without question that. I mean, that's
That's
the most
beautiful.
important thing. So I believe on this metaverse, and I believe that technology can do that.
That really, really is beautiful. Costantino, you are a visionary. Truly, you're an optimist, and you're doing some incredible work to bring the innovation that we're talking about into our daily lives. I am so honored. Thank you very much for your incredible work, your incredible insight, and sharing all of that and your energy with us today. It was so, so nice to have you on the show. And I hope that you come back, because some of these topics we can dive deep and go down rabbit holes and talk more about them.
For sure, the honor is all mine, and I hope your audience also enjoyed as much we enjoyed here. It was really a pleasure.
Of course. And will you please let the audience know where can they learn more about you, about your project, and get involved?
Okay, you can join our community also through our website, which is Ntzns, which are the abbreviation of the word netizens. On Instagram, on Twitter, with the same abbreviation, or Netizens World, or with my name. I'm open to everyone with my mails, my WhatsApp, Telegram, and everything. In LinkedIn, of course, but I don't respond to the calls. I don't like to speak to the phone. So
Don't be
anything else, I'm
calling Costantino.
available. Yeah, just write something to me. I will reply to anyone, to every message that I have.
And I will leave that information in the notes section for you guys. If you want to reach out to Costantino and learn more about the project, all the information will be in the comment section, notes section of this video for you. All right, guys, that is all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion. We'll be back again next week with more hot topics in the metaverse. Until then, I'm your host, Mona. Stay well.